All right, this morning in the studio, we're glad to be joined by Paul DeBort, District Conservationist for Foster County. Paul, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Greg. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah, you bet. How's your morning going so far?
Well, great. It's not sweltering already at 8:30 here in the morning.
Yeah, right. Some mornings can get, well, if it's hot already, it makes for a long day.
Yes.
So
I keep thinking about those poor crops that are going to suffer throughout the next 12 hours. And, you know, like I was going to mention today, just desperate need of rain, I would say, summarizes, you know, besides those lucky lottery winners out there that have gotten some decent rains here in the last month or whatnot. I think everybody is pretty well hurting for some rain, and I think it would be a welcome surprise for us.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. You know, like these little cells just kind of move through, and some areas get an inch, other areas like 10 minutes away, not even, maybe 1500ths or something like that.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, thanks, Paul, for joining us here. We'll talk more about conservation planting and everything, but first, tree sale coming up this Friday, right?
Exactly. So we've got the excess hand plant tree sale coming up on Friday. It's at 8 o'clock, and it'll go till 5:30, and it's over at the District Tree Shed on the west side of town, 14th Avenue and 3rd Street North. So come over there, get some hand plant trees. It sounds like there's a good variety to choose from, and just probably bring like a plastic garbage bag or something to be able to put the roots in, and then that way they keep moist and protected. Yep.
Okay, so that's this Friday,
Yes.
June 9th. All right, sounds good. Let's talk about some conservation planting this morning.
Yep. So one of the probably most underrated services that I think NRCS provides, you know, we're kind of known here lately for all of our programs and our cost share assistance, and that's awesome. I love the opportunity to be able to work with a farmer rancher out on their land and help make improvements. But sometimes, you know, I think there's something to be said about just simply having a visit like we used to before we had all this money to deal with and work with. And so I just, you know, want people to understand that we can come out anytime just to go drive a pasture with them or go look at some cropland where they're having, you know, maybe it's excess water like we've been dealing with forever, and offer some solutions, different opportunities to possibly treat those resource concerns. Namely, one of the things that comes to mind is saline soils. So this it would have been over Memorial Weekend, we saw what the wind can do.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just sad to see whether it's saline soils that are up in the air or whether it's our precious topsoil that's up in the air. As a producer, you don't want to see that at all. And that's the worst thing in the world, to be seeing that fertile topsoil blowing to the neighbors.
Yeah.
In fact, there was a little bit of a study that Dave Franzen talked about this last December at the NDSU crop improvement workshop that they held, and they went back to exact sites that they sampled back in 1960, and one of those sites, for example, in Walsh County, there was 18 inches to 2 feet of topsoil in 1960. Well, now, because of erosion, it's down to about 1 foot to 6 inches. So, you know, you start to look at the big picture of things. We can raise great crops. We have the best farmers in the world, but the report card comes down to what are our soils reflecting, and sometimes I don't think that we give that enough credit. I like to put it as we treat soil like dirt. We don't value it enough. And so I think, you know, from my personal perspective as a farmer also, I will do everything possible to keep that soil in place and to preserve it, to build it, versus, you know, going out and drying it out just to try to. We've proven we can get crops in late, and I think we're very good at that. So I think sometimes we just need to kind of not look at the calendar, stay a little bit patient, and get that crop in like we know we can.
Yeah, that was over Memorial Day, the strong winds, and it was a lot of soil, a lot of dust blowing around that
Terrible.
day. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So whether it's, you know, reducing tillage or just leaving something more on the surface to hold that down, we've been utilizing cover crops as something that can really add organic matter at a timely, when normally our fields are just sitting basically like summer fallow. It just adds organic matter, keeps that soil in place. In some instances can use up some excess moisture, keeps the soil temperatures down, etc. So, I could go on and on about cover crops. That's kind of my passion, but it's one of those things that it's only one thing that can help treat some of those issues that we face. I think one of the other fun opportunities, I guess, that I describe it as is getting to go out and look at pastures with ranchers. We can help establish water, just about any kind of source of water you can think of, whether it's drilling a new well and pumping it to tanks located in different areas of a pasture, cross fencing. We can do a lot of different things. And I think sometimes, we just need that opportunity we know how busy our producers are. And so it's just kind of one of those things, if we can think ahead a little bit and plan for these situations that we're currently facing and get those wheels in motion to help address maybe some of these, potential tough situations, I think that's the best way to address that stuff, get that in place.
Now, and you can go out and visit and help with these kind of situations and too, right?
Exactly. That's that's what our agency was founded on. Back in the 30s, it wasn't about cost share. It wasn't about any of that. And don't get me wrong, I love that opportunity to be able to help pay for it too. That's a fun and fantastic thing that we can offer. But it's also, some people don't want that kind of government intrusion, so to speak, and so the ability to just go out and have a conversation and go look at things, it's just adding another set of eyes, I guess, so to speak, to be able to say, hey, have you ever thought of this? Have you ever considered doing that? Sometimes I think we just need that, in any area of life.
Right. Yeah. Yep. And even like not to mention crops and pastures too drying up as well, and especially in western North Dakota. Is that correct?
It's sad. People are having to liquidate entire herds, and out west they're used to drought, and it's something that they've grown accustomed to planning for. So when you start hearing about those people having to make those kind of drastic decisions, it's just sad. And hopefully, we'll get some rain and things will change course. But, and like we were talking, maybe next week, hopefully, fingers crossed. But in the meantime, I just think that it's important to understand that these situations can arise at any time, whether it's excess moisture or, in this case, not enough. And there's ways of planning for it. In the rangeland sense, it's rotational grazing, setting up water, like I mentioned. Those are all things that are just beneficial no matter what condition. So it's great to get those things implemented now, or get the wheels spinning to get those things implemented, because the wheels of government don't work that fast if you are looking for a program to help pay for it. And it's frustrating because, if there's anything I can ever do to help, that's what I want to do.
Okay, and then the drought monitor, the U.S. drought monitor, that will be updated tomorrow, correct?
Yeah, yep, and I think it'd be interesting to take a screenshot of today versus what it's going to look like tomorrow, because I have a feeling that that area of moderate drought, as they label it, is going to expand big time. And and I guess one positive is it's helping some of the markets right now, but at the same time, it's just too bad that it has to be at the at the expense of a crop right now.
How about the crops out there? You can you definitely tell the drought?
Yeah, it depends on the part of the county, because I do think there's some lucky ones that have caught rains, and as somebody has told me, they can't get out of the way of a rain, and it just makes me more frustrated, so to speak. But when you get to, I think, the western part of the county and some of the northern parts of the county, I think we're getting pretty desperate. I don't know that everyone realizes it yet, but go out and just take a tile spade, quick dig a hole in the field, and you'll be very surprised at how deep you got to go. And fortunately right now a lot of the crops are small, they're not using a lot, but at the same time there's a lot of wheat and small grains out there that are kind of at a critical stage of development that need it, and I just think it's one of those things where I don't think anybody's gonna not hope for it.
Okay, sounds good. We're talking this morning with Paul DeBoert. Paul, anything else this morning for us?
No, just again the tree sale on Friday. Go in and pick out a couple hand plants or a bunch of hand plants. There's a big variety, it sounds like. Bring a plastic bag just to protect the roots and keep them moist. And boy, let us know if you have any needs or would like us to come out and visit with you. Just like I said, we're always trying to get out of the office, and we have a good workload already with projects to go in this summer. But we're always looking for next year, and that's the goal, is to try to just get ahead of these things.
Okay, sounds good. And how do we get a hold of you? You got to get a number for us, right?
Yeah, the local office, 652-2551. Just leave a message if we're out in the field.
Okay, sounds good. Well, thanks, Paul. We appreciate the information this morning. Yeah, very important topic with the insisting drought that's going on, and hopefully, yeah, like we said, maybe Friday and maybe next week, some rain coming. So
let's hope.
All right, sounds good. That's Paul DeBoert joining us this morning, and District Conservationist for Foster County. And that concludes another edition of